guys, welcome to LawPutra YouTube channel. I am Bhavna here. Today we are gonna discussing about the topic the differences between vested interest and contingent interest in Transfer of Property Act 1882. Before going and seeing the differences between vested interest and contingent interest, let's know what is vested interest and what is contingent interest. Section 19 of Transfer of Property Act 1882 deals with vested interest. It is an interest which is created in favor of a person where time is not specified or a condition of happening of certain specified event. Here time is not specified and condition of happening of certain specified event. The person having the vested interest does not get the possession of the property, but has the expectancy on receiving upon the property after happening of certain specified event. Here he doesn't get the possession, but he has expectancy on receiving the property upon happening of certain specified event. Let's understand this with a simple illustration. A promises to transfer his property to B upon attaining the age of 22. Here A promises to B to transfer his property upon the certain specified event on attaining the age of 22. B will have vested interest in A's property till the time he doesn't have possession upon it. Here B have a vested interest in A's property till he doesn't have possession on right upon it till he attains the age of 22. And death of a person who is having a vested interest will not have effect on the interest as after he deceased. The interest will be vested upon his legal heirs. From the before example, we may say that if B dies on the age of 21 and the property will be transferred to B legal heirs, like B heirs, the property will be transferred as B died on the age of 21. Here certain specified event is occurred. Here the important aspects in vested interest are interest should be vested and right to enjoy the property is postponed. Let's see contingent interest. Section 21 of Transfer of Property Act deals with contingent interest. It is an interest created in favor of a person upon a condition of happening of specified uncertain event. The person having the contingent interest doesn't get the possession of that property but has the expectancy to receive it upon happening of that event, but will not receive the property if the event does not happen, as the condition must be fulfilled. Let's see this with a simple illustration. A agrees to transfer the property X to B upon the condition that he shall secure 90% in his exams. And the condition is uncertain and the happening of the event or not happening of the event is in doubt, that he may acquire 90% or may not acquire the 90% in his exams, and therefore B here acquires a contingent interest in property X. So he is having a contingent interest in the property X. He shall get the property only if he gets 90% and when the condition is fulfilled. And also death of the transferee before getting the possession of the property will result in failure of contingent interest and the property will remain with the transferee. If the death of transferor happens, the property will remain with the transferor, and here is the failure of contingent interest occurs. Contingent interest is a transferable right, but to know whether it is a heritable right or not, it depends upon the nature of transfer of property. Now let's see the differences between them. As we discussed earlier, we know the section definition of contingent interest and vested interest. So clearly we see from the definition that vested interest is not specified in the time and the condition of specified certain event is applied and certain specified event. And in contingent interest we see that condition of happening of specified uncertain event. Here in vested interest it is a certain event and in contingent interest it is an uncertain event. And let's move to the third point on condition. In vested interest, the condition involves a certain event. A certain event means it is eventually happen. You know the difference, right? Certain events means it is eventually happen. And moving to the contingent interest, the condition involves a specified in certain event, there is a chance of happening of event or not happening of event. Here there is an uncertainty of event. Whether in vested interest, it is a certainty of events. So you know the difference between what is certain event and what is uncertain event, right? Now let's move to the fourth point, fulfillment of condition. In vested interest doesn't completely entirely depend upon the condition, as the condition involves certain event. It creates a present right that in effect immediately also postpone the enjoyment to prescribed in transfer. Though the enjoyment is postponed, the property gets immediate transfer and has the right upon the property. Whereas in contingent interest entirely depend upon the condition imposed on the transfer. It is entirely depend on the condition applied on the transfer. On the interest is not only transferred to the transferee on the fulfillment of condition imposed. Now let's move into the fifth point, right of ownership. The right is created as soon as interest is vested. He gets the immediate transfer of property as condition is fulfilled, and the right is created as soon as interest is vested. Whereas in contingent interest, there is a mere chance to having the ownership, as the event is uncertain event. Now let's move into the sixth point, death of transferee. As we seen before, while discussing the definitions, we may clearly see the differences between the contingent interest and vested interest. In vested interest, the death of a person who is having this interest will not have any effect over the interest, as after the deceased interest will have to his legal heirs, as the property will transfers to this legal heirs. As we see in the illustration that 22 years old guy gets the property. If he dies, the property will transfers to his legal heirs. Whereas in contingent interest, there is a mere death of transfer of property before getting the possession of the property will result in the failure of contingent interest and remain the property with the transferor. Here, if the death of transferee occurs, the property will remain with the transferor. Here you can clear with these points. Now let's move into the seventh point, transferable and heritable. In vested interest, the property is both transferable and heritable right, whereas in contingent interest, it is a transferable right, but to know whether it is a heritable right or not, it depends upon the nature of such transfer and the condition. Here, in vested interest is both a transferable right and heritable right. In contingent interest, it is a transferable right, but to whether know it is a heritable event or not, it depends upon the nature and transfer of the property. Now moving to the last and the eighth point, the present right of enjoyment. Here in vested interest, there is a present and immediate right even the enjoyment is postponed. He gets immediate and present right as property is transferred to his name of certain condition, of certain happening condition. Whereas in contingent interest, there is no present right of enjoyment. There is a mean expectancy of having such a right. Here in contingent interest, he has a mere expectancy of having a right. So you are clear with all the differences. We are clear with 8 points like section, definition, condition and fulfillment of condition, and right of ownership, death of transferee, and transferable, whether it is transferable or heritable, and the present right of the enjoyment. Here we discussed the 8 differences and the vested interest about and contingent interest. This is about the differences between vested interest and contingent interest. Hope you all clear about this video, and thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to LawPutra YouTube channel. Thank you.